many times I'm trying to support you guys in understanding, getting the principles behind everything, and learning how to decipher on your own what lines up with what you want to do and what doesn't. And by that I mean there's things that you hear in terms of arguments for or against things. There's lots of different opportunities to try different things, but it's important to figure out how to analyze them and how to critique them if necessary. And I understand that sometimes I can come off as a critic because I'm always, making some sort of an argument to or for something, right? Against or for something. And the whole point is whenever you would present me as something, I'm going to give you the pros or the cons depending on what you're telling me. If you're asking me because you feel like it's not a good idea, I'm going to give you some of the reasons why it is a good idea. And then if you're presenting it to me as if it's a good idea, I'm going to give you some ideas as to why it's a bad idea. And I'm loosely using the word idea, but the whole point is that you need to be able to decipher the pros and the cons. And sometimes when you start going through it, you might realize that in general, this might not work for most people, but the pros outweigh the cons for you. It fits your situation well. And you hear arguments about, should your knees go over your toes when you squat? Is it better to do cardio or weight training? Is it important to look at macros or calories? Is it important to sleep or exercise? Is it important to eat carbs or fats? Like there's always these arguments that are going on. But the whole point is that you can make an argument for any of these at any point. And as I've said before, you can easily critique everything because, again, that's the easiest position to take in all areas. It's easy to be the pessimist, and it's not easy to be the realist or the optimist at all times. But that being said, it's important to look at the pros and the cons without everything, and that's really what I try to do sometimes. I try to counterbalance, but most importantly, I try to give you both the both points, the both ends of the spectrum where it comes to whatever you might be talking about, or what I'm talking about, or it's something that's being presented. And I do see a lot of people in the industry, they take these extreme sides to things. And that might work for their niche. It might work for their subset of the population that they want to do something that lines up with that. But the people that I like to help and the people I tend to help is the general population. That's usually the middle part of the whole spectrum. We're not really looking at athletes or people that need extra support. We're looking at just general population. And for that, I'm going to make points to and against anything that you do bring up, not to be critical, not to be the pessimist, as you might call it, but it's to help you to understand, okay, you're going to present to me something like, should your knees go over your toes? I'm going to give you some of the reasons why it was thought that we shouldn't be doing that, and some of the reasons why we think that we should. And there's good arguments for both, but at this point, as a professional, I've made some level of decision based on all the information that's out there, based on the science, based on the way I understand things from studying kinesiology and working with other professionals and developing these systems. There's a point where, as I've said before, you have to make a decision and you have to act. And you do that with the best information you can gather on this. And for example, if we lose the knees over the toes thing, there's an argument to not go over your toes, but there's also some arguments to actually have the whole range of motion. And at this point, my position has evolved. And I think that's important. When new information comes out there, new understanding comes out there, you want to make the best decisions based on that. And in some cases, I might advocate for not having your knees over your toes. In other cases, I might advocate to try to get your knees over your toes. And that's context specific. You've heard me say something like this before. And again, I might argue for one for you and then something else for somebody else. The whole point as a coach is to help you see the forest and the trees at the same time and support you in making decisions. And it's not to be critical, it's not to be pessimistic. I'm trying to line up your options and your choices and your decisions with what you like to accomplish, but also from what I learn about you as an individual. So again, I'm here to support you as a coach. We at Insight Coaching are here to support you. help sift through all this information that's out there and make a decision on your behalf. And we can always make adjustments on that. But it's important because we've looked at all the aspects, all the avenues, we've considered the pros and the cons, and we've made decisions to move forward with. And sometimes we make an adjustment for yourself or somebody else. But the most part, we're just here to support you. And as always, minimum effective dose to get what you want to get.